Welcome back, Chris. Hey, make sure he's back. Good. All right, let's wait for the rest of the people. Let's start in 2 minutes. Let's start in 2 minutes. Let's start in 2 minutes. Let's wait for the rest of the people. All right, before we start, can somebody put in the chat box what pair they would just want us to do the top-down analysis on? Put in the chat what pair you want us to do the top-down analysis on, any suggestion? Stacy, don't say AUD USD. XAU. Chris, all right. Yeah, I know Stacy is going to talk about AUD USD, so I'm just going to stop her right there. Welcome back, guys. All right, so oh my God, Nana is on there. My mentor is on here. All right, Nana, if I go wrong, then you tell me what to do. All right, so, all right, we have few people on here. What pair do you want us to do the top-down analysis on? Everybody, let's vote. The majority will carry the vote. The majority will carry the vote. What pair? Quickly. In the chat box, put in the chat box what pair you want us to do. AUD Chef, XAU, or AUD Stacy. Oh my God, Stacy, I know that was coming. Anybody else? No, no, we can't do USD GHS. I don't trade that. I know you love it, but I don't trade that, so I can't do that. How are the rest of the people? Gold. Anybody else? Chairman Tatty. Dax. Wow. Anybody else? All right. So gold carries it. Let's go on gold and do a top-down analysis on gold and see what we get. All right. I'm gonna clear my chat fully. Got lots of things on the chat right now. Can anybody tell me in the chat box quickly? In the chat box quickly, what trend they see right now? What trend they see right now? Quickly. Anybody? In the chat box, what trend do you see? Up trend. Very good. Very good. Very good. That's exactly what we have. So from a top-down analysis, I'm going to go straight on the monthly time frame. And this is what I do. Every single high or low in the market, every single high or low in the market, I am going to place a horizontal ray on top. So in this area, I'm going to put a ray. From the buy side, Come on, Natasha, you're welcome. From the buy side, I'm going to make it red. And on the sell side, I'm going to make them blue. If that makes sense. So on the buy side, still got people jumping on. Yeah. So on the buy side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to label all my highs with red lines. And on the sell side, I'm going to label it with blue lines. So let's start from the sell side, the buy side, sorry. We can see that there is a clear high right here. And now there is a high right here. Let's look on the sell side. I'm not going to consider this area too much because we're on a monthly time frame. This took years. We're considering from 2010 all the way to 2020. So I'm just going to consider this area so far. I'm just going to consider that area. So on the downside, I can see this is a clear low right here. Gonna make it blue. This is a clear low. This is a clear low. This is a clear low. Are we following? Is what I'm doing making sense to somebody? Give me a one if it does. Give me a one in the chat box if it does. All right, all right. Now we have 15 people on the call. I've just labeled all the clear highs and all the clear lows, and I'm asking if it makes sense. Can you give me a one in the chat box if what I've done makes sense to you, please? I don't want us to leave some people behind. All I've just done is the clear highs, I've labeled all of them, and the clear lows, I've labeled all of them. The clear highs are all in red, and the clear lows are all in blue. How many people do we have saying yes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, we have 11 people is good enough. I'm just going to move ahead. So on the monthly, this is what we see. Now, for all the areas I have marked, what about the highs in the middle? The highs in the middle. We're not going to focus about the highs in the middle. We're only going to focus about the highs that we have seen that has not played yet. One thing that I want you to know is that with smart money, you are focusing on what price could possibly do and not what price has already done. Remember, we want to trade in the future. We want to know how the banks are going to move the market in the future, not how they've done it in the past. And that's the reason why I want to take the clear areas that hasn't been played yet. We can clearly see that these areas are so clear and that area is so clear. But then here has all been balanced with this area. Does that make sense, Chris? Does that make sense? Good. Good. So with all the clear highs and clear lows I've marked, now I want us to look closely. We're doing it together. Look closely. We're going to start from the downside. Show me if you see any gap. If you see any gap, let me know. You can put in the chat box. Say again, please. If you see any gap at the bottom, yes, at the bottom. So I'm going to move this line right here into this area. You see, the reason why I lined up all the support areas is because it's going to give us the clear gaps. It's going to give us a point of interest to start looking at. So there is a gap right here at the bottom. Now, the next area we want to look at is this area. Can we identify any gap around there? Give me a yes or no. Can we identify any gap around this area? Yes, okay. So where is it? Is there and there, right? Give me a one if you understand why I identify this area as one, as an imbalance. Give me a one if you understand why I identify this area as a gap. All right, good, good. See, we had this area as a clear support now. Good, good. People are following. I love that. We had this area as a clear support. And now look, there is a gap right here. Can I say this is a gap? Can I say that is a gap? Yes or no? I'm going to mark this as a zone right now. All right, yes. I'm going to mark that as a zone. I'm going to mark here as a zone. Wherever we have the gap, I'm making them a zone. So there is a gap here. There is an imbalance there. There is an imbalance here. The next area we want to look at, this was a clear low that we saw. On the 4-hour time frame, on the monthly time frame, we cannot see any gap here. So we're going to maintain that. When we go on a lower time frame, we're going to start seeing whether it's an actual gap or not. I'm going to put this one down. I want to label this as the monthly gap. Monthly imbalance, sorry. So this ones are all monthly imbalance. Every single blue you see down here is a monthly imbalance. Let's look on the upside if we can see any imbalance or an institutional candlestick. Sorry, I did not identify the institutional candlestick. In this case, this is the institutional candlestick we're looking at. This area. In this case, we're looking at this area. And in this case, we're looking at this area. Any questions before I move on? Any questions as to why I've made those areas yellow and saying they are institutional candlesticks? Any questions? Quickly before I move on. All right, there are no questions, so I'm just the doji at top. The doji at the top. The doji at the top. Are you talking about that one? All right, I'll move ahead. I'll move ahead. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So now I'm going to drop down from the top. We cannot really see any form of clear institutional candlestick or any form of gap. So now I'm going to drop down to the weekly time frame. And now we're going to start from the upside. We still cannot see any form of gap. Can we? Yes or no? In the chat box, please. Yes or no? We still cannot see any form of gap around this area. Do I still have people on this call? Oh, yes. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Andre. I was wondering if there are still some people on this call. So yeah, we still cannot see any form of obvious institutional candlestick or a gap around this area. But what we can see, can you answer Doji as I got cut off for a sec? Sorry, I'll get back to that, Chris. Let's just go over this quickly, and then I'll get back to your question, please. What we can see around this area is an equal highs. Can I say this area is an equal high? One in the chat box if you know that is an equal high. This area. Yay! Yay! With smart money trading, if you see an equal high or an equal low, it is not an opportunity for you to take a trade. It is rather a target for you to know where the banks are ready to move the money to. Can I repeat that? In smart money trading, if you see a double top or a double bottom, sometimes a W or an M, it is not an opportunity for you to trade. Rather, it is a target for you to know that smart money is going to go up there and take that liquidity. Take note of this. I want it to sink in very well in your head. Every single time you see a double top or a double bottom, it's not an opportunity. It is rather for you to know that the smart money banks are targeting those areas. Are we okay? 2 in the chat box if we're okay. If we agree with that. W, M patterns, double top, double bottom, they are not your friend. They are not your friend in the market. They are rather your enemy. Look around that area and know that the banks are about to smash that liquidity. So I call this area as liquidity. Why? Because let's take this off and replace it with something more significant. In pounds, right? Look at the number of people who were trying to sell around this area. When price came to this area, people sold and they had their stop losses up here. When price came back here, people sold and they had their stop loss above. Again, price came around there and people sold, right? So every single person holding their position on gold, when price came here during 2013, 2012, 2011, they've still got their stop losses hiding around these areas. Why? They are holding their position thinking that price was going to sink down when gold decided to tank down. Smart money is not that, it's not that simple. What they're doing, I think my computer is doing something else I don't like. Can somebody help me to reset this computer? Does anybody know how to do that quickly in the chat box? How to reset my screen. I don't like what's doing right now. It's moving about. Can anybody help me in the chat box? All right, I'm just gonna go ahead. So once we're done with this area, smart money has the ability to come back up here and sweep all those stop losses. And that is all we're talking about right now. So now let's come back down here. On the weekly, we saw that there was a gap here, right? But now we can see that the gap does not exist anymore. Can somebody tell me if they can see a gap around this area? No. All right. Instead, the gap has been reduced when we came on the weekly time frame. There is still a gap, but it has been reduced from what we saw on the higher time frame. It has been reduced. The size of the gap has been reduced. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the gap, actual gap on the weekly time frame. Who's not muted? All right. Thank you for muting yourself. So in this area, can I say now the gap is around this area instead? Anybody else? Can I say now the gap is here instead? I want people to see it. I want more people to see what I'm seeing. Can I say the gap is around here instead? Yes, and the reason is because this wick is not touching that wick, creating this imbalance in the market. I've only got 4 people chatting to me right now. Where are the rest of the people? Where are the rest of my family? Come on, guys, reply to me. Yes, all right. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and roll. Oh no, I don't like what my computer is doing right now. Can anybody help me reset my screen right now? Please, in the chat box. Anybody with good MacBook knowledge? Please. I don't like how my computer is. Right click on the screen. What's the screen doing? Yeah, what's the screen doing? I don't know. Can anybody help me? No, it's still not doing what I want it to do. Sorry guys, I'm trying to fix this technical issue I've got right here. Oh yeah, I think I have it right now. All right, I have it better now. Okay, let's get rolling, guys. Let's get rolling. So now, can I confirm again? Where is my chat box? Where is my chat box? Can I confirm again that this is the gap that we just identified on the weekly? Give me a 1 in the chat box. Give me a 1 in the chat box. Give me a 1 in the chat box. Still have 14 people on the call. Please let me know we are understanding this. Yeah, I know some of us are busy, but yeah, at least I need the maximum of us. I need the highest number of us saying we can see that. All right. Do we remember we saw a gap around this area on the monthly time frame? Now we're going to squeeze in this imbalance to see where we really have the imbalance on the weekly time frame. Can I move this? Anywhere else? Let's make it bigger. Is there any sort of imbalance somewhere? Yes, there is. Can we see this? Thank you. Thank you for seeing that for me. And now there is another sort of imbalance here. Can we see that one too? Give me a 1 if you can see that one too. So now with our analysis, all we're doing is we are squeezing in our imbalances. What we saw on a higher time frame, we want to see it on a smaller time frame and take note of where in the market these positions are. So now we've done that area, we are around this area. Can I say that the gap is now around this area, in that area? Yes, in the chat box. If I can do that, give me a yes in the chat box if I can do that. Thank you, Stacy. Anybody else? Good. Chris, are you saying why? Jacob, why? All right. The reason why I can say there is a gap is because that wick I have here is not touching this wick. Oh, okay. Then you saved me the hassle of explaining again. Thank you. There is another gap here. Can we see this? Can we see that? Now, once I'm done with all these lines, I'm going to show you which ones are more important and which ones you really want to take notice of in the market. So everywhere here seems balanced to me. Can I say that? Everywhere around this area seems balanced to me. Can I say that? Yes or no? Everywhere in this area seems balanced to me. Yes or no? Everywhere in this area. No. Andre, no. Stacy said no. Okay, Stacy, I think the answer is yes. And the reason why it is because there was a gap here, but then price came back here to mitigate this gap. So now everywhere here in this area is balanced. Does that make sense? Ah, yes, that's it. So now we don't really have to worry about this area. All we need to care about is this gap being filled. Oh, yes, that makes sense. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Ashley, for getting it. So everywhere here, I see makes sense for me, except this area. Can I say there is a gap here? Yes, okay. So I move on. Wick touching wick, wick is not touching wick. So there is a gap here. Here, there was an imbalance, and that is the reason why they brought price all the way down here into the 50% of this institutional candlestick, and then they went back up. So we're done with the weekly analysis. Now we're going to go on the daily. On the daily, I'm going to focus on this area more, and then that area that we have on the upside. I'm going to focus on these areas more rather than what we have at the bottom. Now, these levels, I want you to take note of these levels. Whenever gold decides to come back down, we are going to start seeing gold dipping down into these zones that we have marked. Once I'm done with this markup, because we did it together, I'm going to send it in the group chat, and you can copy it and save it and see what price does when price gets into these zones that we have marked. So on the daily, we're going to focus around this area. We can see gold is very bullish, even on a daily time frame. So our directional bias on gold is to buy. If I place a trend line here, the trend line traders, clearly we are on the upside. The trend line traders is going to put another trend line in this area. Clearly we are on the upside. So this is telling us that gold is still very bullish on the daily time frame. Hence, we are going to look for buy opportunities. Price is currently taking out this high, which means it gives gold a reason. Can I say this area is an equal high? This area. Give me a 1 in the chat box if you agree with me. You see how smart money came back? Look at the M pattern that we have right here. I told you they are not our friends. This is on a higher time frame. They still came back to clear it. On a smaller time frame, they will come back to clear it. On the smaller time frame, they will come back to clear it. And this is what I mean. There is another form of double top created around this area. If price decides to go up, I know that this area is going to be cleared. And if price decides to come down, where are we looking to buy? Our first point of interest I want us to look is this area. Can I say there is a gap here? I'm going to run a little bit because our time is moving real quick. Yes, good. I'm going to close this gap, bring it down all the way here. This gap, there is a gap here. We might see it clearer when we go on a smaller time frame. For now, I'm just going to leave it as that. So in this area is our buy opportunity. We want to buy in this area. We want to buy in this area. Can I say this area is a double bottom? If we go on a smaller time frame, we will see it clearer as a double bottom. Now let's squeeze in on the 4-hour time frame. I'm going to run a little bit quicker because of the time. The gap that we saw on the 4-hour time frame, if we come on the on the daily time frame, if we come on the 4-hour time frame, the gap is a lot closer to the bottom area, and that is what we're going to consider when they decide to push price back down. The bottom one is their main priority. Why? If you go to the market, and they tell you 60% off and 90% off, which one would you go for? In the chat box, which one would you go for? 60% off and 90% off, which one would you go for? 60% off. So you want to buy at an expensive price rather than a cheaper price. Thank you, Dan. I'll definitely go for the 90% off. Why? I'm saving myself a whole 90%. And that's the point. Smart money is going to do the same thing. They want to buy at the lowest price. They don't want to buy at the high prices. Oh, April is on the call right now. April is on the call right now. Smart money, yes, they want a discount price. They don't want to buy at a higher time frame. They want a discount price. Even though there is a gap around the 71%, but look, there is a gap below 78%. So I would go for a smaller time frame. I'll go for a cheaper discount, which is a 90%. In this case, we're looking around 80%. Right? So I'm going to move this gap all the way to the furthest gap, which is around the 80%. I know this gap exists, but my attention is around this area. And one more confirmation is because I have a bullish engulfing candlestick, which means there is an institutional candlestick. Right? There is another confirmation why they want to come back here. There is an institutional candlestick. Why? This is where they sold to buy. This is where smart money sold to buy. This is where smart money sold to buy. So they want to come back there to close their orders before they go up. Give me a 1 in the chat box if that makes sense. Give me a 1 in the chat box quickly if that makes sense. All right, guys. I have 1 minute left on this call. I don't know if you still want to go ahead with this chart markup. Fair enough. I still have some time. I don't mind closing this call and restarting it. It's up to you. If I get lots of people saying sure, then yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. If not, then yeah, I'll close the call from here. So what do we say? Three people, how many? 16 people on the call. 3 people saying yes. Can't make it. It's fine, Lenny. Let's carry on, Charity. Good. Okay, anybody else? All right, let's carry on, guys. I'm gonna leave. Let's go ahead. Jump back onto the call. Jump back onto the call. I'll see you on the other side.